Back in August of 2020, I stood right here and I told you what the average sale price was, what the median sale price was, and what was the cost of living here in Lakewood Ranch. Well, 31,000 of you found that appealing and watched that video, so I thought, well, that's about the population of Lakewood Ranch in 2020, so let's do one today and see where we are as far as a cost of living here in Lakewood Ranch. Hello, it's MarkBoehmig, Michael Saunders and Company. So today I wanted to start with some interesting facts about what it was then and what it is now. And it's not everything that has gone up in price. There's been some that have gone up quite a bit, as we'll see. There's some that have been stable, and some of the things have come down just a little bit, and we're going to dive into all of those. So like I said, the average sale price in August of 2020 was $482,000, and the median price at that time was $393,000. So you can see this Lakewood Ranch map right here. Now, it has expanded by quite a few number of homes since we did that original video 5 years ago, and now we have a little bit more geography and more homes being built here in the community. But as of this month, our average sale price is $773,000, and our median sale price is $600,000. That's a 62% increase in houses over the past 5 years. Now, it was actually more than that during the COVID time frame, but now that things have settled down, sales have really slowed down, and there's more incentives from the builders that are being put out. That's putting downward pressure on pricing, and quite frankly, we needed that to happen because things were rising much too rapidly, and now we're seeing a more stable housing market. Matter of fact, I'll put a link up here if you'd like to see what the latest statistics are here for the Lakewood Ranch. We just did a video about that, ending in what the numbers were for ending in July of 2020. Now, so housing cost, of course, is the biggest thing that we have here. But what about property taxes? Well, property taxes are still about 1.3 to 1.5% of the sales price, and that does include the CDD fee or the stewardship district fee. So in that calculation, that could actually come down. And the reason is if somebody had bought a house at the height of the market in, say, 2021 or 2022, and let's just say, for example, they bought that house at that time for $1 million, that 1.3 to 1.5% is going to be based off that $1 million sale price. Well, if they fast forward 3 or 4 years from the 2021 and 2022 market, and they sell that house and somebody buys it for, let's just say, $850,000 or $900,000, well, the taxes are now going to be less because now the new tax basis has been reassessed once that property sells. The easiest way to tell about approximately what your sales taxes are going to be is to take the sale price of the house, take about 15% off of that for your assessed value, and then you're going to multiply that times the millage rate, and you can find that on the Manatee County website or the Sarasota County website to see what the millage rate is for those counties, and that's basically where your tax is going to be. But for ease of calculation, we usually say 1.3 to 1.5%. Now, if you are homesteaded here in our area, your taxes cannot go up more than 3% per year. So the maximum increase in any year can be 3%. So my taxes were about $13,700 3 years ago. 2 years ago, they were $13,900, and then this past year they were just a little over $14,000. So we are seeing a little bit of an increase, but like I say, if you're homesteaded here, that maxes out at 3% increase per year. The way you homestead is you have to get your driver's license here, you have to get your car tags here, and you have to claim Florida as your home residence of permanency. Now, what about the CDD fees? Well, the CDD fees have basically stayed about the same. They run anywhere from about $1,200 to $3,000 a year, and that comes on your tax bill at the end of each year. So the CDD fees, depending on the lot size, is how they usually calculate what that price is. But you can see what these fees are if you go to Manatee PAO.gov, and that stands for Manatee Property Appraiser's Office. And if you go to Manatee PAO, there's a place on there where you can search and see what any tax structure is for any residential property. And if you pull up the tax bill, then you can see how they have it broken down for the taxes and then the CDD, which is called a non-ad valorem addition to your tax bill. So what about the homeowners association fees? Well, those range anywhere from $300 to $500 a month, and that's usually taken out on a quarterly basis. So here in Country Club East, ours run about $500 a month. That usually takes care of all your lawn maintenance, your trimmings, your weeding, your fertilization, and also mulch. When you see these HOA fees go up, the biggest contributor to those fees usually is the landscaping, because each year they have to go out and get a new price. They have different companies quote it, and depending on what the landscaping is, which some of them include the mulch, there's a heavy expense for them to buy all of that material and give an estimate and then keep that contract for the full year. So that's how the HOA fees are calculated. Now, what about car insurance? Well, I've seen car insurance go up kind of steadily. We pay about $5,100, but that's for 3 vehicles. 2 vehicles is probably going to be closer to the $3,300, $3,400 a year. Our insurance for cars is quite expensive, but the car tags themselves, when you redo your car tags each year, it's usually about $45 per vehicle. Homeowners insurance. Well, that's a stickler here because, as you know, when the more hurricanes we have or the more weather events that we experience, then those insurance premiums tend to go up. Well, my insurance has risen every year that I've been here, except this last year it dropped $4. So we're at about $3,190 for full homeowners insurance. When we bought this house in 2020, when I did that original video, the homeowners insurance here was about $1,900. So you can see it's had a pretty large increase over the 5 years. Flood insurance, which we instigated in last year. Last year it was about $950, and this year it's $1,132. So flood insurance has gone up a little bit, but I have a peace of mind by having flood insurance, so we like to have that here. So what about electric? Well, our electric has remained pretty stable since we've been here. So we had a low of $123 and a high of $255. Of course, the $255 is during the middle of the winter when the air conditioner is going all the time. So we feel like we're pretty good. Energy is pretty cheap here in Florida, and that's one reason why we don't see more solar, is because the energy rates are pretty low. What about our gas bill? Well, our gas bill runs between $66 and $113 a month. That $113 was maybe when we were heating the hot tub a time or two, but typically our gas is not that expensive either. Internet. Well, internet's a funny thing. When I first signed up for Frontier, we switched off of Spectrum, which was your cable, and we went to fiber optic, which was Frontier, and at the time it was $69 a month, and now we're at $100 a month. So, you know, they get you in and then they increase those fees. I was of the mind I was going to cut the cable and do away with all the stuff. But of course, you know, we went to streaming everything, and then all of a sudden you add the Netflix and you add the Apple and you add all of the different programming choices that you have, and it ends up increasing. But our basic internet for 1 gig speed is $100 a month. What about your water, sewer, and trash? Well, our low was $61 and our high was about $110, depending on how much water we consume, how often you're flushing the toilets, all the water that goes through your house. Now, we do not water our lawn with public water. That all comes through Manatee County's recycled system, recycled water. So we try not to ever use the hose for just watering the grass. The water is way too valuable to be putting on plants and stuff. Every once in a while, if we have to put in something new, we'll see if the Homeowners Association will allow us to run the sprinkler system for an extra time, but that is reclaimed water coming through the sprinkler systems here in most of the Lakewood Ranch. When I did this video in 2020, the membership to Lakewood Ranch Golf and Country Club, I think, was $32,000. That was for 3 golf courses, for the pickleball and the tennis and everything like that. So if you were a golf member, that was your initiation fee, was the $32,000. Well, fast forward to 2025, that fee is now $85,000. So that's quite a jump, but they did buy another golf course. So now there's 4 golf courses included in that price. So $85,000 for the initiation fee, and then you have monthly fees, and I'll show you a picture of what those fees are right here on this page. The sports package is $15,000 if you want to do the pickleball, tennis, the exercise facility, and then the social membership is $6,000. Hopefully you got some good information for the cost of living here in Lakewood Ranch. And if you're interested in seeing what a nice community looks like, here's a video that JJ did on Star Farms. Mark Boehmig, Michael Saunders and Company.